Great pleasure right now to welcome a man who'll be performing at Van Wezel coming up on Valentine's night. That's Monday, February 14th, 8 o'clock. The show is called Dressed Casual, one of the great singers and Broadway stars and actors in the business. Mandy Patinkin joining us today by telephone. How are you, Mandy?
How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, yeah. We talked to you a couple of years ago when you were last here down here.
Yeah.
So let me just get the computer going here real quick. All right, here we go. Yeah, talking with Mandy Patinkin, who's coming to town on February 14th at Van Wezel, 8 o'clock show. Mandy, I guess it was, 2 or 3 years ago you were down here, weren't you, last time?
Yeah, I think so. We've been there a lot over the years, that's all I know.
It's a great hall, particularly for what you like to do. It's really just you and Paul Ford on the piano. That's
Paul
real.
Ford on the piano and myself, and maybe we'll have a surprise guest as well.
Oh, great. Yeah, but that's the type of show. It's almost a cabaret show in a sense, isn't it?
In some sense, absolutely, yeah. I've always just loved to be the mailman for all these geniuses who wrote these wonderful songs over the years, and I never grew up with these songs. I just learned them as I grew, as I got involved later in life in the musical theater, and then I met Paul Ford, and I started learning these songs myself, and I loved the stories of the songs, all the words and stories and tales, and they just spoke to me. It's not a nostalgia ride for me. It was just something that I connected with.
You grew up in Chicago, but you did not really see these shows or get involved in. That's interesting. I thought maybe you were a child of Broadway.
When I was in high school, I worked at the Young Men's Jewish Council Youth Center and did a few shows there.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I got started. First show I was ever in was Anything Goes, and then I did Little Chap and Stop the World, I Want to Get Off, Tony and West Side Story, things that kids do in high school, and I loved doing it. So I went to the University of Kansas. I ended up going to the Fine Arts School there and was in the theater department, and people there said, no, you ought to really consider doing this. So I then applied to the Juilliard School of Drama in New York, and I never thought I'd get in, but I got in, and so I went, and that changed my life. Actually, in Juilliard, I never even studied a single musical note. It was all the classics there. I just trained to be a classical actor. And so the music was something I always did in the synagogue when I was a little boy. I was in the boys' choir from the time I was 7 years old. So I never thought you had to study singing. I mean, that was something everybody did in the temple.
Now, was Evita, I grew up in New York, and I remember when you starred on Broadway in Evita. Was that your first show in New York?
That was the first, not the first show in New York, but the first musical that I did.
Right.
And that, that did well. And that's actually where I met my dear friend Patti LuPone. And,
right.
And I have a show that I do with her as well. And I'm actually in a car heading right down now to Vero Beach, Florida for a Patti Mandy show tomorrow night.
Oh, great! Yeah, that's she was down here not too long ago as well. Great performer, a Long Island girl. So we're happy to see that up from Long Island myself. But great commercials too on that old Evita show when it was on Broadway. Very.
Oh boy, you remember those?
I remember they were great.
Yeah.
Just the songs that you've had the chance to do on Broadway. I guess it's kind of fun for you in a sense to try and put a show together. You've done so many of these great classics, haven't you?
Over the years, we've been doing it about 22, 23 years.
Yeah.
The actual songs that I do in concerts, whatever the concert is, whether it's the Mama Lushan or the Patti LuPone, Patti Mandy concert, or my own solo concert, or I have a new concert I do with Nathan Gunn now, and another one I'm creating with Taylor Mack. But whatever I do, there's very few songs that I actually sing from shows that I've been in on Broadway, musicals.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them are all songs I've learned that were not part of shows I was in. They're certainly parts of other musicals, but I chose them because, first of all, my piano player, Paul Ford, is nothing short of a genius in this area. He's like the Library of Congress. And I'm a very lyric-driven person. I'm a very lyric-driven person. So it's always the words or the stories that matter most to me. And we would just find songs that spoke to me and told stories that I wanted to tell and share. Oh, like I say, geniuses wrote these songs. I'm just the mailman. I just deliver them. And I love doing it. And it's been a blast. I never imagined 23 years ago that this is one of the main things I'd be doing with my life.
Just watching over the years, Mandy, the way you perform a song, I mean, you mentioned before being trained as a classical actor, you almost act out the song with the lyrics, and depending on what the lyrics says. I think that's really one of the things you do well.
I've always thought words I'm saying, and it's only by coincidence that the words happen to be on musical notes. But it's the words I care about. And I've never found that if the story's good, I've never found that the music wasn't equal to it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the lyric is as important as the music, and when you put them both together and get a great interpreter like yourself, I mean, that really makes the magic happen, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, absolutely. And look, at the end of the day, there's nothing more powerful than music. So, music is the most powerful thing in the world, probably, on a positive level. And so put those together with good stories and words, and what more can you ask for?
Of course, you've done the Sondheim show in the past with Sunday in the Park with George. I guess, is he the most difficult lyric to learn? I know they're words that kind of, are amazing, but are they difficult or easy?
Easiest for me,
really?
Because they're so clear, and because they're clear, he tells the story so clearly, and they're so rich, and they're so full, and they're so logical to me. And the ones that make lesser sense are much harder to learn because I can't follow the reason. But when they make sense, I learn it very quickly.
Yeah, they're intricate, no doubt about it, but they do tell great stories.
No difference than if I give you directions how to get somewhere, and they're good, clear directions, you get it right away. If I start making you turn left, right, upside down, inside out, and all around, you get lost.
That's true. I'm bad with directions anyway, so you better be clear when you give me them.
There you go.
Well, I know the people tuning in today want know you as well from your work on television. Of course, the last few series that you've done. Do you miss doing the weekly series, or are you planning to go back and do any here?
Actually, I always loved it, and I just finished making a new pilot for Showtime called Homeland that is going to star Claire Danes and Damian Lewis. And I'm in it as well, and we just shot it in Charlotte, North Carolina. So they'll tell us whether or not we're going to go to a series in a month or two. But I have a feeling it's going to go, and it's a wonderful new series for Showtime, created by the guys who created 24 and The X-Files.
Oh, great. That's good pedigree.
A real nail-biter.
That should be a lot of fun. Of course, Criminal Minds was the most recent series that people have seen.
Right,
and of course, I go back to the Chicago Hope days, Mandy.
Yeah, Chicago Hope, and I did Dead Like Me for Showtime before, and working on Chicago Hope with David Kelly was just one of the real joys of my life, and I had a great time working with Showtime before doing Dead Like Me. So we had a great time. I was just shooting it this past week, and it was a lot of fun, and now I'm doing a new play at the Public Theater that I've been working on for a year and a half called Compulsion, written by Rena Groff, directed by Oscar Eustis, with Hannah Cabell and Matty Ossian and 3 puppeteers. A most extraordinary play about a man who believes in something deeply and to what degree he will sacrifice his own life and everyone else's life around him for what he believes in and what he feels he needs to protect. He feels very much a guardian of this young idealist who happened to have been Anne Frank. And it's a beautiful, extraordinary new play that we've been working on a year and a half, so we keep making changes and everything, and we open it in New York City. The first preview is Tuesday night.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah, I knew it was coming up, but I wasn't sure when. Oh, that's always a fun time, opening night in New York. So you're keeping busy, Mandy.
It is, yeah. No complaints. Life is good.
That's great. Well, again, for the folks down here in Sarasota, come out and see Mandy on Valentine's night. I'm sure you'll have some special Valentine-type songs as well. It's an 8 o'clock show called Dress Casual. And, Mandy, appreciate you taking a few minutes, and we look forward to seeing you down here in a couple of weeks.
We promise you a good Valentine's night, and you'll have a good time. That's why we go there ourselves.
That's right. Thanks, Mandy. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. See you at the theater. Bye-bye.
Very good.